It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnet Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
Welcome to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here.
With Barnet Bain. Wonderful to be here. How are you, Spence?
Excellent.
He is.
He is so excellent.
He
Let me tell you how
excellent.
excellent our producer is.
By a show of hands, is he excellent? Excellent. He's excellent.
We're so grateful to have our producer back.
We are.
Yeah,
So
totally
grateful.
grateful. And no disrespect to the folks that filled in. It was fantastic.
Absolutely.
But it's just nice to have them back.
They didn't bring us water.
They didn't bring us water.
Neither did Spence, but we're just planting seeds.
That's right. Question hour. We're not an hour, but the question time.
Oh, we have some good questions.
Do we
have
really?
Some, yeah.
I'm nervous.
I have here.
I have it in my hands.
I have in my hand. Freeman, in the expression, do whatever it takes.
Okay.
What does it take?
In the expression, do whatever it takes, what does it take? You know, the part about that question I think is important is we don't know. But the commitment to do whatever it takes is an opening to I don't know that is very active and open-hearted and full. How's that for an answer?
That's good. You were going down for the third time there. All right, here, let me help you out there. Let me throw you a line. In the expression, do whatever it takes, why is it do?
Oh, great point. I slipped on that one, didn't I? Be whatever it takes. Nice.
Or do be.
Do and be. Which comes first? Be.
Both and.
It's a both and. Simultaneous.
So when you think of busy as a bee, is that a contradiction in terms?
That's great. That's on our stack. You made that up off the top of your head.
This is an extemporaneous one. I have yet to write that one down. That'll be up for in the cycle. I'm going to put that into the rotation.
Well, look, I think it's there's a bit of a paradox there. To be busy as a bee, on one hand, is obviously flitting all over the place, and on the other end, to just be with just the single E is about being grounded, centered, and present. So I think we're both sometimes to stay
both
with
and.
This both and analogy that it's kind of two things at the same time.
That's powerful. Busy bee. That's very powerful.
Yeah, busy bee. But spelled B-E. Busy bee. I'm busy being.
Busy being. If you were to express in a motto how you've lived your life, what would that motto be?
Just be. Oh, how I have lived my life, or I want to live my life?
Millions would believe that.
No.
Nobody watching this show.
No. The motto for my life as I've already lived it? I think it's been courageous, because I feel as if, look, a lot of how I got to here, I'm proud of how many times I owned whatever I needed to own to move forward, and that took a lot of courage along the way. Your thoughts on that motto? Do you have a motto?
Do I have a motto?
Don't follow me.
Do I have a motto?
Come on, you got a motto.
I don't have a motto.
That's
I am living into the discovery.
That's
of a motto.
All right.
And sometime before I have principles and I have values. And sometime before I exit this, I will have or may not have refined them into a motto. And that is a wonderful segue to this very juicy question.
Okay.
How is the journey the reward? Maybe I'll handle that
you
one
need
since
to.
It picks up on the motto conversation.
Yeah.
How is the journey the reward? Well, by the end, at some point, I'm increasingly aware that the journey is the reward, and the qualities of getting along in the journey are the qualities of where I'm going in the journey, where I want to go, my heart's desire, are the qualities of being there.
Yeah.
And so somehow...
Well, there is no there. I mean, that's part of the whole idea of this, is that there's a journey and the destination is unknown, and that's the good news. This is actually tracking back to the first question. You know, are you willing, what does it mean to do whatever it takes? What is that about, you know, to do and be whatever it takes? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. And
well, I totally am with you.
Yeah.
And in the way that we talked about the duality of busy bee,
Yeah.
there is also a duality in here.
Okay.
And so on the one octave that you're addressing, there is no there. But at the octave of experience, I have a very strong intention around this life that ties into the motto. And it is my life purpose to learn how to consciously have fun and to refine and develop and the mastery of the magic that is living, so that I am more and more willing and able to direct matter to conform with my heart's desire, my will, and my intent.
I love that. I really do. And that is, go ahead.
And in the inner worlds of my imagination, there's a very, very different experience for all of us than what happens in the apparency of what goes on in the outer world, where we are so involved in commitments to doing and the straight line. You can't go from Monday to Friday without passing through Wednesday. But in the inner world of our thought and imagination, it is a choice away. So it is my life's purpose to collapse the veil so that I am more and more able to be magical in the outer world as well.
Yeah, now that you've contradicted everything I said, I'm going to contradict everything I said too. And we've talked about this in terms of, reversing the cause-effect paradigm, where there's an effect, there's something that we want to generate, at least on a quality level. And the cause, how it happens, I don't really care. But that I'm really aware of what it is I want to generate, that then becomes very intentional and very visionary. And then what plays out to represent that, I don't care. I mean, the cause will come, right? If I'm really clear on what the effect is that I'm going for.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and it's fascinating because I think there's this balancing of that paradox where we sit in the middle of it, and they're both true simultaneously. That's very, very. It's not passive. It's very. It's open. So it's not the spiritual bypass. It's not the premature transcendence syndrome where whatever's meant to be will be. I'm just invested in the journey. I don't care. No, I do care.
Yes,
I care profoundly.
You and I are very intentional.
Yeah. So I'm open is active.
Journey.
I'm open is active. It's not passive. I'm open to what may come, but I'm not sitting back going, I don't, whatever is meant to be will be. No. That's not where I'm coming at from. That's not my vantage point.
We are exploring consciously.
That's it.
Becoming conscious of our subconscious and becoming conscious of our unconscious and our higher conscious. And it is a life's work, and probably will go on in whatever way it goes on beyond that. But it is a journey of discovery of more of who I am.
And our intention is for it to be a whole lot of fun.
To be a whole lot of fun. It is an ecstatic creation.
Because it hasn't always been. I went through a lot of the excruciating. I'm learning and growing. I'm the learner. And I carried that big sack of stones around for a long time. Like, this is my cross to bear. And that's not where I'm at in this point in my life. This is fun. This is what I like to do. I'm willing to come talk about it on the radio.
On the radio.
Yeah.
So this ties in actually to the next question I have.
Please.
Which is, why does education not buy happiness?
Education. Education and learning seem to be synonymous, but I'm not sure they are. I mean, in ways they are. In moments, my learning happened in the context of education. But
education is a silo.
Yes.
And learning...
That's right.
Is a field.
That's beautifully put. That's poetic. Say it again.
education is a silo and learning is a field.
Love it. I think the question got answered. Is it that's sufficient, or do we feel like we need more?
I think we should go for another one because it's so interesting that all of these questions, they all are the same question.
They are.
There's only one question.
There is only one question. That's funny.
Why are we so superficial? And now, I'm not saying that we are. It's the question.
Because we get scared, and that's where we run to when we're scared. That's what we hang on to. The superficiality is the first sort of realm, the first developmental stage of taking things in. It's crunching everything down to what it looks like on the surface. You said before, that there was a time in your life where you carted around your achievements and said, "This is me." And recently we were talking about that as your. That's just the paint
Traffic
color.
school graduate.
I don't know if that's the one you want to lead with, but it's fine. But that's just paint. That's not substance. Underneath it, there's this guy who, and it isn't even bound by a story like, a guy who was from northern Quebec, and that's not sufficient to describe who you are. I know you better than that, Barnet. You're not just, and I know the whole story. I mean, to the degree that I know it, because you've told bits and pieces of it over the last couple of years and in our friendship and so forth. But that's not you. That's not the essence of you. So, I think superficial is where we start. I think a lot of us feel comfortable in superficial, and to go deeper is a bit of a risk. And, to the degree we can take that risk, things get juicier.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I have some thoughts to add to it since you've done all the heavy lifting and primed the pump. We also are conditioned by our families. Now, please don't hear me. I'm not attacking anybody. But families have a certain set of scripts
and agreements,
and we are conditioned to them. We live within the value structures of our families, and so inside of that, we develop a worldview, and added to that are our educations and the cultures that we're exposed to, and the media that we're exposed to, and the religions, doctrines that we're exposed to, and this becomes a net. It becomes a framework that holds the space for what we can make good and true, and anything beyond that is alien or off limits.
Yeah,
and so
or we simply don't see it.
We don't see it.
It doesn't exist.
We don't see it, and so we have suddenly this huge, this infinitely deep pond of possibility, but below the frozen surface that we skate on of our conditioning, we are alien and estranged to it, and we long after what keeps us in there is gone, our families, our parents, long after they've lost their ability to keep us there, we continue to skate around on the surface because we're creatures of habit, and frankly, it's scary to suggest that there might be something more that we don't have a conditioned response to deal with.
And I say this to clients often because we talk about, either in weight release or in whatever sort of change they're going through. I say change is scary, and if you change, because when you change, there's this breaking of agreements. There's someone you betray. And it's interesting because it starts off, well, if I were to do this or that, I might betray my parents. And we go down the list. Eventually, we get to this crazy thing of I might betray myself. And it's myself as I've defined myself. It's myself as all this storyline that I've lugged along and bought into, and it's held my reality. And if I give that up, who am I? It's a big risk to go down into the pond, as it were. So yeah, I mean, it's a self that we've defined and are comfortable with, and going beyond it is a challenge.
I'll share something that has just come to the surface for me quite recently. Is although I knew the story for many years, I knew the story of my parents divorcing while my mother carried me. I knew the story of the the considerations of whether or not they were going to keep the pregnancy, and I knew the story of it, of how difficult it was, and that, at birth I was handed off to my grandmother. So I knew the story. But only recently have I come to understand how that those thoughts and those feelings, that environment while this small child in utero, I am taking in all the chemistry and the emotions and the energy into this unformed system. I'm beginning to experience, not as a head trip, but in my body, how I imprinted that stuff, and how it shows up as a capacity to deal with energy incoming. Without too much energy incoming, I immediately shut down, stop breathing. We've discussed this many times on the show. Stop breathing, contract emotionally, mentally, physically, and it's at a level beneath, that's been below my consciousness for all these years. I'm just beginning to discover it and beginning to understand how all of my responses to life are in consideration of this very, very delicate primary story of balance between am I putting myself out to an exposure where it's dangerous, or am I going to stay just minimally alive, minimally active, so I don't wrinkle, I don't disturb anyone, I don't make any waves, and I make everyone happy because I'm lucky to be here. And it shows up in all kinds of surprising ways. For many, many, many years, I held a contract unilaterally made. It's not like somebody else entered into it, but all by myself. I decided if I achieve more than my father does or my parents does, it will shame him, and so I wouldn't do it. I could not achieve more. I could not. So these things are layers of onions, and they're so subtle. Just when I thought, well, I've dealt with these issues and these issues and these issues and these issues, to find that it comes all the way back to the very, very earliest story, and that it's held in the cells. I don't even remember where we began with that.
No, read the question.
I think I'm pretty much on point.
You are. Read the question. It's fantastic.
Why are we so superficial?
There you go. That
well,
is exactly.
There you have it, my friends.
And with that,
that's why
I
have been so superficial, and I'm getting over it
all the time. With that,
I think we've run out of time.
Yes.
When have you run out of time? Right now. We thank you for joining us. If you like this, we hope that you will share it with friends and on Facebook and on your social media and with your moms. And
maybe not the mom.
Maybe not the mom.
Maybe not. And with that, we invite you to keep coming back to Cutting Edge Consciousness.